Hey, how's it going again? This time I've got to talk about three stocks. Three different stocks. And the reason I'm covering this is because a couple weeks ago, somebody else's channel was trying to tell me they have we'll just say they have a little less than 500,000 viewers. I mean, 500,000 subscribers. I don't want to mention the guy's name, but his tie is different than mine. So that's enough about him. Three stocks that he was claiming had a 20% yield. None of them had a 20% yield. First, let's look at Frontline, which is, I liked Frontline. I had 100 shares of Frontline. Frontline had a 70-cent dividend, and then it was cut to 50 cents dividend. Then they got rid of the dividend. However, when I looked at my stock app, it said it had a 26% yield. It doesn't say 26% yield now. It claims to have a yield of 23.04%. Its yield is zero. Zero. Had I followed the other person's advice, I'd be buying a stock for the dividend, and it doesn't have a dividend. So to fix that, I always put in this case it's FRO, F-R-O for Frontline, space D-I-V, space H-I-S-T. If you've been following this channel, you know I do that a lot. And then up comes, when I do that, and I do that, it comes up. This time it comes up at 13.48%. But it tells me the truth. The last dividend that was paid on this was September of last year. There's no dividend this year at all. It pays quarterly, and January, February, March it should have paid. It's already coming up on the 2nd, which will be June. It would be June, would be the next dividend, and it hasn't paid anything. So before you run out and find this guy that tells you a great stock to invest in because of the high yield, make sure it has a high yield. The second stock that had a supposed 20% yield, and I made a comment on this guy's, on his video, and he went like this concerning a stock that I liked. I said, well, sell AT&T and buy ORC, and he went like this. Did you listen to the video? And I let him know that he had some stocks that he supposedly had a 20% yield that didn't have a 20% yield. And so I went like this to him back. But I think I just talked about FRO, I'm not sure. So Euronav, E-U-R-N, Euronav's current yield is 0.86%. Less than 1% yield. Less than 1% yield. Less than 1% yield, and it was supposed to have a 20% yield. That's, I like Euronav when they were a higher yield. They were 0.329 cents per share in August of last year. June of last year was 81 cents a share. So when you're talking about these different dividend stocks, when it happened to be in the tanker industry, and Euronav was in the tanker industry, but its dividend went down to 0.021 cents per share. So you get 10 shares, you are, and when you get 10 shares, you're 21 cents. Okay? But I own EARN, E-U-R-N. I had been accumulating EARN. Then it's no longer something I'm trying to accumulate because they dropped the yield. Now DHT was supposed to be the third stock that was around the 20% yield. Its yield is 2.58% right now. Now I was watching his video a couple weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago that he was talking about EARN, DHT, and FRO, and he used FRO for the last one because he really wanted to point out that great yield. And then he did something that would increase the yield, which is called a covered call, which does increase yield. You buy 100 shares of any stock, okay? You buy 100 shares of any stock, and then when you have your 100 shares of whatever stock you have, you can put it so, do a covered call where somebody would want to buy that stock in the future, say in 18 months, between now and 18 months at a set price, and then you can like rent that stock out. Like if they want to do that, you can charge them $1 or $2 or 80 cents or whatever it is, and bet 80 cents per share. Say it was 80 cents per share, and then you had 100, so it would be $80. So you could increase effectively the yield of that stock if it had a yield, okay, which Earn doesn't, DHT doesn't. Well, Earn does a small yield, and DHT a small yield, but his thing was Fro. Fro's yield was supposed to be 26%, and then you could make another 16%, or whatever it was. You can, if you buy 100 shares of any stock, you can list it as a covered call, and you can make extra money. Now, if they buy the stock, say you had 100 shares of Fro, and the current price was $6.59 or $7 or whatever it was, and you sold them a covered call for $8, they would have to pay you $8 a share for those 100 shares, and you would make the difference between the what you bought it for and what you sold it for, plus the covered call. So if you had 80 cents on the covered call and you had 100 shares, you instantly make $80. But if it didn't reach that $8 mark, and he didn't buy it, or she didn't buy it, then you would just keep the $80. And so it's a good deal for you. The third one, like I said, was DHT. Its current yield is 2.58%, and the cash amount is 4 cents per share. The last one in February was 5 cents per share. Last year, it was much higher. It would have been a very good time last year to buy DHT. I had DHT last year. So, when someone tells you it has a yield, make sure it has that yield. So in recap, quick recap, neither DHT, YourNav, or Frontline has anywhere close to a 20% yield, and Frontline, that was supposedly on his video at 26% yield, has a yield of 0. However, if you happen to own 100 shares of Frontline, you can make a little bit of money by selling a covered call. You'd have to go and you have to put the shares on the chopping block for the covered call. That's not covered in this video. I'll have to cover that in another video. But until then, you have a great day, and see you next time.